You're listening to Rolling Recklessly, the podcast where dice hit the floor, paint gets spilled, and no game ever goes exactly as planned. I'm Grizzly, and here we dive headfirst into Warhammer, tabletop gaming, and the beautiful mess that is the hobby life. From epic crits to absolute disasters, we'll cover it all. So grab your minis, roll with me, and let's get reckless. Welcome back to Rolling Recklessly, the podcast where we dive into all things that are Warhammer Age of Sigmar, from the lore and epic battles to the hobby desk and the tabletop. I'm your host, Robert, aka Grizzly, and today we're taking a different path. Some of my favorite games of Age of Sigmar weren't the ones I won, but the ones where I sat across from a friend, laughed about bad dice, and built a story together. And that's what a community does. Today, that's what we're talking about. Instead of talking about rules or lore, this episode is all about community side of Age of Sigmar. Because as much as we love the models and the games, what really keeps this hobby alive are the people. Local communities where new players learn the ropes and where veterans share their armies, where stories get told across the table. And don't worry, if you don't have a local scene yet, we're here to talk about what you can do to get one started and maybe even create one in your area. I've been lucky enough to be involved in building my own local scene at the J&J Gaming Factory. From hosting Warhammer nights to planning events, I've firsthand seen how important it is to create a welcoming and consistent place for new players. So for today, we'll talk about why community matters, how to start a small community and grow your own local group, some of the challenges and surprises that come with it, because in the end, it's not just about the high crits and reckless rolls, it's all about people having fun and to share it with. Alright, let's get rolling. At its heart, Age of Sigmar is a game about stories. But those stories don't happen in a vacuum. They happen across the table, with friends, rivals, or even complete strangers who share a love of the hobby. That's why community matters. You can buy the models, you can paint the armies, you can read the lore, but it's the community that makes all of it come alive. Rolling dice against somebody else, laughing about lucky crits, and cursing a streak of bad rolls is what turns the game from a hobby solo pastime into something much, much bigger. For new players, a strong local community is what helps them feel welcome. It gives them a safe space to learn the rules, ask questions, and to see firsthand how different armies play. Without that, it's easy for someone to feel lost or overwhelmed when playing this game. For veterans, the community keeps things fresh. Playing different opponents, seeing painted armies on the table, or just talking shop between games can reignite the spark when the hobby starts feeling like it's slowing down a little bit. And honestly, I think most of us can point to a moment where people were just as important as the game. For me, it wasn't just Sylvaneth that hooked me into Age of Sigmar. It was rolling dice against Jesse and all my other friends, trading stories and realizing that this was more than just pushing models across the board. So let me just throw a few questions out there. What's your favorite memory from your local group so far? Do the people that you play with motivate you to keep more by the rules or the models themselves? How about how one of you seen in the community make a difference for a new player who might otherwise have probably drifted away from the hobby? You start thinking about moments like these, you start to realize just how important the community is. It's the glue that's really holding the hobby together. So that's why the community matters. But the question is, how do you actually get one started? Let's go ahead and talk about that. So when we first started running things at J&J, it really wasn't that big. It was just a couple tables, some gray plastic models, and a lot of excitement. And honestly, that's really all it takes for you to get started. You don't need a huge turnout or a fully painted armies right away. What matters is creating a space where people can get together and roll some dice. The first step was finding a home base. For most of us, that's a local game store, but it doesn't have to be. It could be a library, a school club, or even just someone's garage. The important part is that it's reliable and easy for people just to show up. The second step is consistency. Pick a night and stick with it. Even if it's just you and one other person, that consistency sends a signal. The group is real, and it's worth checking out. At J&J, we locked in some Warhammer nights, and that rhythm made it easier for new players to find us and know where they could find a game. The third step is going to be accessibility. And here's where I want to be honest about what we've learned. At first, we jumped right into learn to plays with full 2,000 point games. For brand new players, it was just too much. Too many rules, too much bookkeeping, and too many moving parts. I remember one night where two new players were running a 1K game. and they were running it kind of on their own, kind of with some assistance, and one player got completely rolled over by the other in just 2 turns. The second player didn't know his rules well enough really to defend himself, and lost most of his key units right away. He walked away feeling discouraged and never really got to play, and that stuck with me. Because of that, that's the last thing you really want to happen when you're trying to show someone into a new game and a new hobby that they've just put all this time and effort, money, everything into. No one wants to feel like they really never got a chance to play. That's why smaller formats like Spearhead, 1K games with guidance, or even scenario-driven battles are so important. They give players room to learn at their own pace and actually enjoy the units on the table, instead of getting buried into the game before it even really starts. Looking back, what makes those early nights more successful wasn't the turnout or any kind of fancy terrain. It was that the games were easy to join, and people feel like they belong. That's what I laid the foundations for and everything that followed. So here's something to think about. If you were starting from zero, what would be your easiest first step? Do you already have a store that could host? Would it be a garage or maybe a couple of friends? What matters is it isn't big. It's starting small and getting something started and going consistently. Right now at J&J, we're still a pretty small but steady group. Usually just a handful of tables on Warhammer Night, and honestly, that's okay. Every new face feels like a big win, because it means that the community is really taking another step forward. One of the best things that we've done is keep people engaged outside just the game nights. Flyers at the store help new players notice us. Even something as simple as posting hobby updates and even event reminders on Instagram or Discord makes it easier for people to feel like they're part of something, even if they can't make it every week. And here's a small win that really encouraged me recently. Games have started happening at J&J without me even knowing. People are showing up on their own and playing different formats of Warhammer. I've seen now 40k, 2,000 point games of Sigmar, and even a kill team being played. That tells me that the scene is becoming bigger than just one night or one person, and that's exactly what I want to see, where the community starts to really take root. Another big piece is variety. We're not just at the point where we're running like paint nights or any big campaigns yet, but even within our small group, we've seen players mixing things up. Some nights it's Spearhead, some nights it's full 2K matches played, and that mix keeps things fresh and makes everyone feel like there's something for them. Then there's the culture side. The vibe of your community matters just as much as the games themselves. At J&J, we try and spotlight where people are working on, celebrate what armies grow and show up, and make sure that new players feel like they're not a burden. If someone needs a rule explained or forgets a face, that's okay. We want them to feel comfortable enough to come back. Now I'll be honest with you. Sustaining a group takes work. There are weeks where the turnout is light, almost nobody shows up, or where life pulls people away. But these little wins, like games popping up without me even being there, show that this little effort that I'm putting in is paying off. So here's something to think about. If you're trying to grow your own group, what's one small action that you can take this week? Could you post a reminder online, invite a friend, even bring a spare army to lend out? These are the kind of little touches that turn a group into a real community. Now, I don't want to paint like the community building side is always smooth sailing, because it's not. There are real challenges, and I've already seen some of them firsthand at J&J myself. The first one is a big turnout. Some nights are busy and full of energy, and other nights are a little light, maybe just a table. And that's normal. People have jobs, families, and other commitments. The key is not getting discouraged when attendance dips. Consistency pays off over time, even if it feels a little bit slow at times. The second challenge is going to be scheduling. Not everyone can make the same nights. It can be tough to balance regular events with one-off games or campaigns. One thing that can definitely help is having a predictable calendar. When people know that every Monday or Tuesday is Warhammer Night, then they're going to know that they can make an event, even if they can't make all events. And then there's the challenge of supporting new players. Earlier in the podcast, I talked about a 1K game earlier that kind of went sideways. One player wiped out the other player before he even knew what he could do. That was pretty discouraging, and honestly, it was discouraging for me too. Because the last thing you want for someone who's in their very first game to feel like it was a bad experience. The solution is to be intentional about teaching. Smaller formats, guided games, and even pairing a veteran with a new player can go a long way. I also wanted to share a win though, because in those moments they keep me motivated. One day, me and Jesse were playing and a new hobbyist stopped by the store just to kind of build a model. While we were talking, one of their friends came in and introduced themselves, asked a few questions about the game and the hobby, and it was a small interaction, but it turned out to be something much bigger. They ended up coming back and bringing a friend with them and scheduling regular games. They played with several different people and tried out different formats. Since then, they've been a pretty regular presence at our Warhammer nights. For me, this was a huge victory, because it showed me how one casual conversation could lead to a new and consistent player in the community. So that's really the lesson here. Challenges are part of the process, but so are the victories. Low turnout nights, scheduling conflicts, learning curve frustrations will happen. But that's when you get those small ones. Someone new showing up, or a player scheduling a game without you having to organize them, and that's how you know the community is taking root. So that's my take on building a local Age of Sigmar community. It isn't always easy. There are challenges like turnout, scheduling, and helping new players find their footing, but those struggles are worth it. And when you start to see those little wins, players scheduling the games on their own, new faces becoming regular, or someone walking in just to see what's going on and leaving super excited to play the next time. At the end of the day, this hobby isn't just about rules, dice, or models. It's about people. Building a community, no matter how small, is what turns the game into something much bigger than the sum of all of its parts. If you're listening to this and thinking about starting your own community or growing your own group, my encouragement is simple. Start small, stay consistent, and focus on making it welcoming. The rest will all come within time. Before I go though, just a quick reminder, our Nurglings giveaway is still alive. There's only 13 days left to enter. Head over to Instagram at Rolling Recklessly Podcast for all the details. Don't wait until the last day. Get your entries in now, and maybe you'll have some Nurglings shambling onto your own hobby desk pretty soon. I'd love to hear about your own community stories, and whether you're a big part of the established team or you're just getting started. You can reach out to me at Instagram at rolling_recklessly_podcast or by email at rollingrecklesslypodcast@gmail.com. And remember, the dice are always way more fun when you have someone to share all the rolls with. And until next time, may your crits be high, your paint never dry, and your rolls ever reckless.